Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered, why? Why are we all here? What's out there? And how does it all work? Well, you're certainly not alone. Hello everyone, and welcome to The Big Why. I'm just as curious as you are about the universe and everything in it. From the depths of the ocean to the furthest reaches of space, no question is too big, no topic too strange for us. We'll crack open the mysteries of black holes, journey to the edge of the universe, and explore the mind-blowing discoveries that are changing our world. So if you're ready to unleash your inner scientist, ask the tough questions, and explore the universe alongside me, then buckle up, and let's ask why. Imagine a book no one can read. A codex filled with cryptic symbols and outlandish illustrations. Its secrets locked away for centuries. This is the Voynich Manuscript. A puzzle that has baffled scholars, cryptographers, and dreamers alike. History is littered with enigmas, but few compared to the bizarre beauty of the Voynich Manuscript. Could it be a lost key to ancient knowledge, or an elaborate riddle with no answer? Today, we'll delve into what we know about this mysterious text, and who knows, maybe one day, I'll tell the world how you were the one to crack its code. The very language of the Voynich Manuscript is its first layer of mystery. It's known as Voynichese, a script unlike anything ever seen before. Letters flow across the page, symbols twist and turn, yet they defy translation. But this isn't some careless scribble. Analysis proves it has patterns, structure, and meaning. Yet, the key to its code remains elusive. Experts have traced the manuscript back to the early 1400s, likely created during the Italian Renaissance, an explosion of art and knowledge. But who wrote it? What tongue spoke these words? And what purpose do these bizarre plant drawings, unknown astrological charts, and the figures of, well, what are these creatures? What do they tell us? Some say Voynichese disguised as a natural language, perhaps a long-forgotten one. Others believe it's a carefully crafted cipher, hiding the true meanings in plain sight. More outlandish theories whisper of lost worlds, messages from beyond our understanding. Is the Voynich Manuscript a brilliant scholar's secret notes? A key to ancient medical knowledge? An elaborate, meaningless joke? Or even a work of fantastical fiction, a tale from an impossible world written in a language that world alone would understand? Without the key to Voynichese, the manuscript's truth remains tantalizingly out of reach. The Voynich Manuscript isn't just an indecipherable text, it's a work of art. Around 240 pages survive, though evidence hints there were once more. The writing flows confidently from left to right, and some pages even fold out into larger displays. It's like the author wanted to cram every inch with knowledge, or secrets. Plants that defy any known species, baffling anatomical diagrams, star charts that match nothing in our skies. Who created this manuscript? And why? It's named after Wilfrid Voynich, a book dealer who acquired it in 1912. Yet, its history before that is a blank. Since 1969, the Voynich Manuscript has resided within the vaults of Yale University's Rare Book Library. But in 2020, this incredible enigma went digital. Now, anyone with an internet connection can pore over its pages, perhaps unlocking the keys to its mysteries. For centuries, the Voynich Manuscript has been a magnet for those drawn to puzzles. Professional and amateur cryptographers have cracked codes that confounded nations, codes that held the fate of wars in their balance. Even codebreakers who helped win world wars like the brilliant William and Elizabeth Friedman found themselves stumped by Voynichese. Countless minds have tried. Countless theories have been proposed. Is it a cipher? A lost language? A medical text so obscure it needs deciphering? Yet, the Voynich Manuscript remains silent. Though the Voynich Manuscript has never been definitively deciphered, there's no shortage of theories. The problem? None have ever been independently verified. The manuscript's secrets are fiercely guarded. It sparks the imagination, leading some to claim it holds the key to herbal remedies or a visionary glimpse into unknown astronomical systems. Others insist it's a meaningless hoax, an elaborate trick played across the centuries. The mystery isn't just what the Voynich Manuscript says, but why it was written in the first place. The Voynich Manuscript is more than just an indecipherable code. The book itself is a puzzle, whispering its secrets through its very construction. Measuring roughly 9 by 6 inches. It's composed of vellum, a delicate material made from calf skin. While nearly 240 pages survive, a closer look reveals a tangled history. Original page numbers added centuries ago are out of sequence. Gaps and inconsistencies suggest entire sections are missing, as if chapters of this cryptic story have vanished without a trace. Some pages were clearly rearranged at some point, their original order lost. These irregularities leave us with tantalizing questions. Was this disarray deliberate, another level of the manuscript's coded world? Or is this the mark of time and carelessness forever scrambling the original design? Scholars call this study of the manuscript's physical form codicology. They pore over every inch, tracing the faintest marks for clues, water stains, the irregularities in the parchment. Even these seemingly mundane details become pieces of a puzzle. They hint at the manuscript's journey across time, the hands that held it, and potentially even the secrets it was meant to keep. Could the answers to the Voynich Manuscript lie not just in its texts, but the very object itself? Science has shed a new light on the Voynich Manuscript quite literally. In 2009, radiocarbon dating pinpointed the creation of the parchment itself between 1404 and 1438. Remarkably, the manuscript wasn't written on recycled old paper, but parchment fresh at the time. This underscores that the Voynich Manuscript was a significant investment for its creator. And the material itself tells a story. Analysis shows its calfskin a common choice yet treated with exceptional care. Each page tells of the animal that gave its skin, its flaws, the imperfections now part of the puzzle. Some pages are curiously thicker than others, hinting at variations in preparation or perhaps concealment. The binding we see today isn't original. Traces of an earlier, likely wooden, covering tantalize us. It's more simple tan leather, lining further hints at an older history, lost under layers of time. These physical details narrow down when the manuscript was made, but add even more questions about its origin and travels. The Voynich Manuscript isn't just about the cryptic text, but the images that dance across the page. Underneath the faded illustrations, however, lies another mystery, the paint itself. At some point, likely after the text was already on the page, someone added color, perhaps enhancing the images, perhaps adding an entirely new layer of meaning. Scientists have peered into the pigments themselves. Blue hues come from ground azurite, a common though costly mineral. Whites are likely a mix of eggshell and calcium carbonate. Green hints at copper compounds, and earthy reds come from ochre, widely available since the dawn of art. These pigments weren't elaborate or exclusive, suggesting a creator with the access to resources but not boundless wealth. Why add these colors? Did the original artist lack the time or materials for painting, leaving it to be finished later? Or does the paint hold a secret code of its own? Yet another layer in the puzzle that is the Voynich Manuscript. Hidden beneath the surface of the Voynich Manuscript lies another secret. Careful examination reveals that in places, the script isn't as originally laid down. Faded lines hint at an earlier draft, later rewritten in bolder ink. Words revised, illustrations subtly modified, as if the original weren't quite right. But why this revision? Was the author correcting mistakes, refining their bizarre language? Or did someone, centuries later, attempt to alter the manuscript's original meaning? Do these retouchings hold a hidden message, a code layered over another? The discovery of retouching throws another layer of confusion onto an already puzzling manuscript. It leaves us wondering, whose words are we truly reading in the Voynich? From the moment you lay eyes on the Voynich Manuscript, you know this isn't a normal book. Every page teems with an unknown script, characters unlike any known alphabet. It flows with a strange rhythm, letters twisting and turning, forming into words that defy all known languages. Some letters appear over and over, others seemingly unique. This isn't some haphazard scribble. The writing has a structure, patterns hinting at real meaning. It has no obvious punctuation and flows smoothly as if penned by someone fluent in this bizarre tongue. This presents a fundamental puzzle. Is Voynich an unknown natural language, perhaps from a lost civilization? Or is it an elaborate code, a cipher created to conceal its true meaning? Perhaps it's something else entirely. The very way the text is laid out invites questions, as the occasional star marking or text within the illustration hints at instructions, at a system as strange as the words themselves. The Voynich Manuscript is an island of unreadable text, yet there are few bridges to the world we know. A faded signature, Jacobs Atapenense, could be a clue to its past ownership. A strange phrase at the edge of an illustration, Der Mostiel, whispers of High German. And most striking of all, the months of the year are scrawled beside astronomical charts, their Latin forms hinting at a French, Italian, or Iberian origin. Are these the clues that will crack the code, or are they remnants of a later hand, someone trying to make sense of the enigma just as we are? Even the mysterious Michotonese text, with its distorted grammar yet familiar alphabet, deepens the mystery. These fragments of the familiar stand out like beacons in a sea of the unknown, showing us that the world of the Voynich Manuscript wasn't completely separate from our own. But were these additions made by the original author, or by someone centuries later, desperately seeking the same answers we are? Unlocking the secrets of the Voynich Manuscript means first capturing it in a way our computers, our code-breaking methods can understand. Various systems have been devised to transcribe those strange Voynich symbols into familiar Latin characters. Cryptographers led by William Friedman in the 1940s pioneered this effort, painstakingly converting the manuscript onto punch cards, the first step towards machine-based analysis. These transcription systems are more than just simple substitutions. They try to analyze the patterns of Voynichese, grouping recurring sequences of symbols into single units. Yet the best transcription system remains elusive. Does a single Voynich symbol represent a letter, a syllable, or even an entire word? This fundamental question dramatically impacts how we try to crack the code. Despite defying translation, the Voynich Manuscript isn't just random scribbles. It has over 170,000 characters grouped into what linguists call words. These words have surprisingly consistent rules. Certain symbols seem to act like prefixes or suffixes, others always appear to be in the middle. It has a rhythm and a structure that hints at genuine meaning. Many experts see patterns too, consistent for a simple hoax. Professor Gonzalo Rubio notes that these patterns don't neatly match any known language. Statistical analysis by experts like Diego Amancio suggests that it is a real language, just one we currently can't understand. This conclusion has been supported by the work of linguists like Claire Bowen. They've compared the statistical patterns of the Voynich text to known languages, concluding that while the individual words are alien, the way they form sentences may be familiar. This eliminates many potential encoding methods, narrowing the range of possibilities. Yet, there's compelling evidence that the manuscript isn't a single uniform language. Different sections seem to be distinct vocabularies and structures dubbed Voynich A and Voynich B. Could this be two languages side by side? A single language with highly specialized topics? The mystery only deepens. All these tantalizing clues tell us one thing. While we don't yet understand the language of the Voynich Manuscript, it is a language, one designed according to rules as intricate as its illustrations. The Voynich Manuscript isn't just a puzzle of words, but images as well. They're our main guide to the book's mysterious structure. Let's start with the herbal section, bursting with drawings of unidentified plants. Are these real flora from lost lands or purely from the author's imagination? The astronomical section is equally perplexing. Circular diagrams hint at the stars, but unlike any zodiac we know, naked figures float across the page, each connected to a star. Are these forgotten constellations or something else entirely? The balneological section is the strangest yet. Women, some crowned, bathe in complex networks of pools and pipes. Medicinal remedies or an allegory with a hidden meaning? And the cosmological section takes us to grand scales with an island map and possible volcano. Could these be visions of a lost world or a symbolic representation of something more abstract? Next comes the pharmaceutical section. Here, the plants take on new forms, alongside jars that seem both ordinary and fantastical. Which of these, if any, have real-world counterparts? And finally, the recipe section. Is this a list of ingredients, cures, or something more sinister? The illustrations aren't just beautiful. They might hold the key to the text itself. Notice how certain illustration style correlate with whether the text is Voynich A or Voynich B. Could they be clues to the unknown languages? Many scholars believe the Voynich Manuscript was intended as some type of medical text. The herbal section, though filled with enigmatic plants, clearly draws inspiration from the great herbals of the Middle Ages. Yet, its plants defy all attempts at identification. Are they meant to be existing flora, somehow poorly drawn? Or are they inventions of the author, each part perhaps symbolic of a specific property? The manuscript's possible links to medicine go further. Astrological charts hint that the creators were interested in the influence of the stars, a vital belief in medieval medicine. Zodiac symbols appear, yet they're woven into diagrams unlike any we recognize. But the Voynich Manuscript confounds even this straightforward interpretation. The composite plants, the strange women bathing, these images push beyond the practical and into the realm of the bizarre. Are they symbolic of medical processes we can't comprehend, or does the Voynich Manuscript conceal knowledge that extends far beyond the medicine of its era? The Voynich Manuscript's journey through history is as clouded as its contents. We know for certain it was created in the early 1400s because radiocarbon dating places it firmly during Europe's Renaissance. Yet, its history before the 1600s is a frustrating blank. Its first confirmed owner is an enigmatic figure himself, George Barashk, who was an alchemist in Prague. He described the manuscript as a useless sphinx, taking up space in his collection, hinting that he himself could make no sense of it. Desperate for answers, Borosk reached out to Anathias Kircher, a renowned if controversial scholar who claims to have cracked Egyptian hieroglyphs. Yet, even the great Kircher seems to have been stumped. Upon Borosk's death, the manuscript passed to his friend Johannes Marci, and eventually was sent to Kircher in Rome. This trail only takes us back to further unknowns. How did Borosk, an alchemist, acquire this bizarre book? Was it merely a curiosity, or did he suspect it held some type of alchemy secret hidden within the bizarre script? From Borosk, the manuscript passed to Johannes Marci. After Kircher's death, the manuscript resides for nearly 2 centuries within the Collegio Romano, the Jesuit college in Rome. A long period of obscurity, likely forgotten in a dusty shelf. In the late 1800s, rumors suggest it was hidden in a villa near Rome until its rediscovery by Wilfrid Voynich, the antiquarian who gave the manuscript its name. Even today, ownership remains contentious. Since Voynich's death, the manuscript has passed through multiple hands, finally residing in the rare book library at Yale University. Yet, in a way, the Voynich manuscript defies true ownership. Its secrets haven't been yielded to scholars, collectors, or even emperors, leaving us all mere custodians of its magnificent mystery. Since its rediscovery, theories about the Voynich manuscript's authorship have bloomed like the strange plants within its pages. The usual suspects are legendary figures from history. Roger Bacon, the 13th century friar whose writings bridge science and the arcane, become a prime candidate. Others look to the Elizabethan era with its court intrigues and occult learnings. Perhaps the Voynich manuscript was penned by John Dee, advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, mathematician and reputed sorcerer. Or maybe its true author was Edward Kelly, Dee's controversial assistant and self-proclaimed spirit medium. Theories abound, even suggested the manuscript is a forgotten work by the inventor Giovanni Fontana. And of course, some believe Wilfrid Voynich himself authored the manuscript as an elaborate forgery. Each theory carries an enticing weight. Could a medieval friar have been centuries ahead of his time? Did a court magician encode royal secrets into this bizarre script? The very names attached to the Voynich manuscript deepen the allure, reminding us that even the greatest minds in history were drawn to the unknown. Marci expresses skepticism about the Bacon theory, yet it clearly ignited something within Wilfrid Voynich. Voynich embraced the theory, dedicating much of his life to trying to prove it. He even considered the possibility of another legendary figure, Albertus Magnus, as a potential author. The link to figures like Bacon and Magnus is both thrilling and problematic. It lends the manuscript an aura of intellectual power, suggesting it could hold knowledge far beyond its time. Yet, no writing definitively attributed to those figures bears any resemblance to the Voynich manuscripts. Were they capable of a secret language even more complex than their known works? Or is the connection just wishful thinking, a desperate attempt to link the manuscript to greatness? Voynich's belief that Roger Bacon was the author fuels a whole new chain of speculation. If Bacon penned the strange manuscript, how did it later reach Emperor Rudolph? Voynich theorized a compelling link. John Dee, the brilliant figure at Elizabeth I's court. Dee, a mathematician, astrologer, and suspected alchemist, was known to possess a massive collection of Bacon's work. Could Dee have discovered the Voynich manuscript amongst Bacon's secrets and perhaps sold it to Rudolph the Emperor with his own fascination for the occult? It weaves together historical figures renowned for their intellect and their pursuit of hidden knowledge. But like all theories about the Voynich manuscript, it creates as many questions as it answers. If Dee believed the manuscript held true knowledge, why part with it? And how did it vanish and then reappear centuries later in the hands of the Prague alchemist? Each answer seems to deepen the mystery further. The connection between the Voynich manuscript and John Dee begins to fray under closer scrutiny. Dee's own detailed diaries, a treasure trove of his life and thoughts, contain no mention of the manuscript. If Dee truly believed it held valuable secrets, surely such a possession would warrant at least some mention. This casts the Bacon authorship and any link to Dee himself into doubt. Prior to the radiocarbon dating of the manuscript, a different theory circulated. Perhaps Dee or his associate Edward Kelly concocted the Voynich manuscript themselves, hoping to pass it off as a lost work of Bacon and sell it to the emperor for a hefty profit. It would be a bold scheme, playing perfectly on the era's fascination with the occult and ancient knowledge. Yet, the dating makes this almost impossible. The manuscript itself predates Dee and Kelly by centuries. As compelling as the trail of figures like Bacon, Dee, and Emperor Rudolph may be, it seems we must always return to the physical evidence. The parchment itself tells a story that, for now, remains at odds with these theories. Given the elusive nature of the Voynich manuscript, suspicion inevitably falls on Wilfrid Voynich himself. As a dealer of rare books, he possessed the knowledge and resources to create an elaborate forgery, and imagine the fortune to be had if it could be passed off as a lost work by Roger Bacon. Some point to a crucial gap in the evidence. The letters from Baruch and Marcy, while proving the manuscript existed, don't definitively identify as one Voynich later possessed. Could these letters have inspired Voynich to create his own hoax? However, scientific analysis has severely weakened this theory. The radiocarbon dating of the parchment itself places its creation firmly within the 1400s. Experts like Eamon Duffy argue that finding so many blank, high-quality vellum sheets originating from that period would have been nearly impossible. This indicates the manuscript is a true artifact, not a mere recent fabrication. While the possibility of Voynich as the forger offers a tempting solution to the mystery, it seems the physical evidence refutes it. The Voynich manuscript forces us to confront the possibility that its origins lie genuinely in the distant past, written in a language and for reasons we may never fully understand. Intriguing echoes of the Voynich manuscript have been found in the works of a surprising figure, Giovanni Fontana, a 15th century Italian engineer. Some of his illustrations bear a faint resemblance to the Voynich manuscript's strange diagrams. Fontana was no stranger to secret codes, employing them in his own writings, though he used simple substitution ciphers rather than the complex Voynichese. Fontana's work contains descriptions of mnemonic devices and fantastical machines written in his cipher. Could the Voynich manuscript be somehow related? Perhaps sharing a common source of inspiration or even employing a more complex version of his cipher. However, key differences remain. Fontana's cipher employs symbols, not the flowing scripts of the Voynich manuscript, and his works, while imaginative, lack the biological and astronomical themes so prominent in the Voynich. The connection to Fontana and the manuscript is a reminder that the Voynich manuscript didn't exist in a vacuum. The drive to encode knowledge to depict the real and imagined was alive in 15th century Europe. But whether Fontana represents a missing link in the Voynich story or simply a parallel line of inquiry remains a mystery in itself. The name we talked about earlier was written at the bottom of the Voynich manuscript's first page and once seemed to provide a key to its past. Wilfrid Voynich deciphered the Latinized name of Jacob, a famed botanist and physician who served Emperor Rudolf II. This was a revelation tying the manuscript directly to the emperor's court and seemingly confirming the tale of Rudolf's purchase recounted in Marcy's letter. Yet, a shadow of doubt falls over this connection. The signature has faded even further since Voynich's time, but can still be discerned under the ultraviolet light. Crucially, it doesn't match a known sample of Jacob's signature discovered in 2003. This inconsistency raises troubling questions. Was the signature a later addition, implying a link to the emperor's court that truly never existed? Some even hint at the possibility that Voynich himself may have faked the signature to bolster his story and increase the manuscript's value. The signature of Jacob, once a piece of the puzzle, has itself become an enigma. It reminds us that even seemingly concrete evidence related to the Voynich manuscript can crumble under closer scrutiny, leaving us with more mystery than clarity. A cloud of doubt hangs over the Voynich manuscript, fueled by past hoaxes aimed at none other than Athanasius Kircher himself. A figure named Andreas Moeller once tricked Kircher into translating a nonsensical text, a cruel joke exposing Kircher's eagerness to decipher the unknown. Could the Voynich manuscript be a similar, though far more elaborate prank? This suspicion grows when considering Raphael Nischofsky the source of the tempting link to Emperor Rudolf and Roger Bacon. Nischofsky was a cryptographer who boasted of his unbreakable cipher. Did he concoct the Voynich manuscript to test his invention with the unsuspecting Baruch as his subject? Marcy's own letter hints at his skepticism, perhaps sensing a deception. The possibility of the manuscript being a hoax persists. Nick Pelling proposed Antonio Averlino, a 15th century architect, as the author. This aligns with the manuscript's radiocarbon dating, though Averlino left no other writings remotely similar to the Voynich. These theories remind us of the long history of deception surrounding knowledge. From playful tricks to elaborate forgeries. Could the Voynich manuscript, instead of revealing ancient wisdom, be the ultimate cryptographic trick, its true meaning not some hidden knowledge, but the mystery itself? The trail of owners from emperors to alchemists only leads us to the true heart of the enigma, the Voynichese text and the bizarre illustrations that accompany it. Scholar and charlatan alike have found themselves entranced, some even obsessed with cracking the manuscript's code. Yet, theories swirl like the strange characters themselves. Is Voynichese a genuine language waiting to be unlocked? An elaborate cipher meant to conceal hidden meaning? Or perhaps something even more extraordinary? let's journey into some of the most prominent theories about the language of the Voynich Manuscript. The most straightforward approach assumes Voynichese is an encoded form of a known European language. If so, each bizarre character would map to a familiar letter, the words cleverly obscured by a cipher. This was the guiding principle behind the countless deciphering attempts, even drawing in the expertise of top US cryptographers like William Friedman in the 1950s. The appeal of this theory is obvious. It promises a tangible solution, a hidden message waiting to be revealed by anyone clever enough to crack the code. However, decades of determined effort yielded no breakthrough. The Voynich manuscript resisted all known cipher techniques. Could something more complex be at play? Decades of work aimed at treating Voynichese as a simple coded message have led to dead ends. The letter frequency in the text defied those of any known language. Common cipher techniques of the era, even complex ones like polyalphabetic ciphers, fail to produce the strange pattern seen in the manuscript. But there are hints that something more intricate may be at work. Groups of characters repeat with odd frequency, like or AIIN. This suggests what's called a verbose cipher, where single letters might be transformed into entire groups of symbols. Think of how Roman numerals like III or IV might appear when disguised in such a way. This deeper level of complexity dashes the hope of easy solutions, yet it further fuels the obsession. If the Voynich manuscript truly utilizes an advanced cipher, whoever designed it possessed remarkable cryptographic skill, far ahead of their time. In 1943, Joseph Martin Feely proposed a theory. What appears to be an unknown script is actually a form of shorthand designed for quick notation. Feely claimed the manuscript to be a scientific journal and coded in a unique form of Latin shorthand. However, Feely's theory was met with swift skepticism. His readings were deemed far-fetched, and linguists found his abbreviation system inconsistent and unconvincing. His theory highlights a key challenge with the Voynich manuscript. Without any other examples of his alleged shorthand system, it's incredibly difficult to prove or disprove its use. What if the Voynich manuscript's true meaning isn't found in the words themselves? Steganography, the ancient art of hiding messages in plain sight, offers another possibility. Perhaps only the third letter of each word spells out a true message, with the rest acting as a distraction. This technique was well known in the manuscript's era, but poses a significant problem: the lack of any obvious structural pattern to the text. However, steganography encourages us to look deeper. Could the very shapes of the letters, the links of the specific pen strokes, hold a hidden code? Such techniques push the boundaries of possibility and become almost impossible to definitively disprove. The allure of steganography lies in the notion that a seemingly mundane object could contain knowledge invisible to most. Decades of frustration have led some to wonder if we're approaching the Voynich manuscript all wrong. Could it be a natural language, one we simply don't recognize, disguised by a unique alphabet? Statistical analysis hints at patterns similar to those found in known languages. This brings us to a surprising crossroads. Linguist Jackie Sky half-jokingly suggested Chinese, but later proposed less common candidates like Vietnamese due to their word structure. Others, like Stephen Bax, focused on identifying potential proper nouns and translating outward, believing the manuscript to be a treatise on nature. Perhaps the most controversial theory surfaced in 2014. Tucker and Talbert claimed to identify Aztec plants and minerals within the manuscript, suggesting it was written in the language of the Aztecs. This would mean the creation date is wildly off, but they argued the vellum could be much older than the text itself. This theory has faced intense criticism. Some argue the New World plant resemblances could be the work of a skilled forger. Specialists deem the proposed translation nonsensical. Yet, the mere possibility that the Voynich manuscript conceals a genuine, if undiscovered, language is mind-blowing. Could it contain the lost knowledge of a forgotten people, their unique view of the world encoded within its pages? The concept of a universal language for clear communication dates back centuries. Often, these languages categorize knowledge, resulting in words that share common prefixes or suffixes. Such patterns, if present, could explain the repetitions that seem so characteristic of the Voynich manuscript. The problem is, no one has yet identified a consistent system at work within Voynichese. It doesn't fit the neatly structured patterns of known constructed languages. This leads to two possibilities. Either the Voynich manuscript employs a completely novel method of language creation, or it's not a genuine linguistic system at all. In 2003, Gordon Rugg demonstrated a medieval tool, the Cardan Grill, could be used to create text with similar superficial resemblance to the manuscript, though critics argue his method couldn't replicate the deeper complexities of Voynichese. Andreas Schinner's 2007 study added weight to the hoax theory. He argues the manuscript's statistical patterns are more aligned with the meaningless text generated through a basic, repetitive method rather than a genuine language. Yet, the sophistication of the Voynich manuscript continues to fool the opposition. Marcelo Montemuro's 2013 analysis found complex word patterns and clustering, suggesting actual meaning exists within the text. These patterns, he argues, would be incredibly difficult for a hoaxer to intentionally create. The debate rages on. In 2016, Rugg and Taylor countered, demonstrating the Grill method could replicate even more complex features of the text. In 2019, Tim and Schinner proposed a theory of self-citation where scribes mindlessly copied and modified existing text, yet this also resulted in patterns similar to the manuscripts. The specter of the hoax is the ultimate dismissal of the Voynich Manuscript, but even studies designed to prove a hoax often uncover unexpected structures within the text. Could the key to proving its authenticity be actually proving it's a fake? Decades of frustration with traditional linguistic approaches have spurred a radically different theory. What if the Voynich Manuscript is a product of glossolalia, or speaking in tongues? Authors Gary Kennedy and Rob Churchill suggest the manuscript could be a form of channeling or outsider art written in a trance-like state. This would explain the manuscript's flow and its unique script. Glossolalia often involves invented languages, though invented alphabets are far rarer. Kennedy and Churchill draw parallels between the manuscript's imagery with its streams of stars and repetitive figures and work by Hildegard von Bingen, who created art and languages during severe migraines, states that can induce trance in glossolalia. It's a proactive theory, yet almost impossible to prove without actually deciphering the text. Even Kennedy and Churchill express skepticism towards their own theory, leaning towards the idea that the manuscript may be a hoax. Yet, in a puzzle so resistant to reason, sometimes we need to consider the irrational. Could the Voynich Manuscript be the product of an altered state of consciousness and outpouring of visions onto the page? The idea is unsettling, yet reminds us of how deeply personal and even enigmatic the act of creation can be. For Lionel Strong, a cancer researcher and cryptography enthusiast, the Voynich Manuscript wasn't a puzzle of languages, but of mathematics. He believed the manuscript employed an intricate system of arithmetical progressions, somehow translating numbers into the strange text before us. In 1947, Strong claimed success translating 2 pages of the manuscript. He asserted the text was written by 16th century author Anthony Ashcombe, revealing its nature as a scientific treatise. However, Strong's mythology was never fully revealed, and records released after his death expose a fatal flaw. The final stage of his translation requires subjective interpretation, allowing him to shape the output to fit his desired theory. Strong's attempt is a sobering reminder of the dangers of confirmation bias. When tackling a mystery as alluring as the Voynich Manuscript, it's tempting to force the evidence to fit a preconceived solution rather than letting the text speak for itself. Deciphering attempts aren't limited to famous scholars. In 1978, John Stoko published a theory that caught the attention of the Ukrainian diaspora. He claimed the Voynich Manuscript was not a mysterious language, but a series of letters written in vowelless Ukrainian. It fueled excitement about the manuscript potentially being a lost piece of Ukrainian history. However, Stoko's work faced immediate criticism. The dates he proposed for the letters didn't align with other historical evidence, and his method of decipherment was deemed subjective and prone to error. His theory also fails to explain the manuscript's intricate illustrations and their potential connection to the text. Stoko's work is a reminder that the Voynich Manuscript holds appeal far beyond academia. It sparks the imagination not only of scholars but of everyday people eager to connect the mysterious tome to their own history and heritage. A linguistics professor by the name of Stephen Bax published a paper in 2014 proposing a provisional partial decoding of the manuscript. He stated that he had a translation for 10 proper nouns and 14 letters from the manuscript using techniques similar to Egyptian hieroglyphs. He believed the manuscript to be a treatise on nature, but unfortunately he passed away in 2017 before a full translation was made. Countless attempts to break the code of the Voynich Manuscript have ended in disappointment, but in 2017 a dramatic claim emerged. Television writer and historian Nicholas Gibbs announced that he solved the mystery. He believed the Voynich Manuscript wasn't an unknown language, but rather a heavily abbreviated form of medieval Latin. Gibbs argued that the manuscript was not a work of singular genius, but a jumbled compilation of existing medical texts focused on women's health. The strange drawings, he believed they were simply misinterpreted diagrams from common herbal guides of the time. Gibbs' announcement caused a huge stir in the Voynich community. Could this be the breakthrough everyone was hoping for? The excitement was short-lived. Medieval scholars quickly tore his theory apart. They argued that the Latin fragments produced by Gibbs made no grammatical sense and his proposed translations were wildly speculative. Lisa Fagan Davis, director of the Medieval Academy of America, was particularly critical of Gibbs, calling his work unsurprising and fundamentally flawed. The consensus was clear. Gibbs' theory was yet another failed attempt in a long history of misinterpretations. The Nicholas Gibb episode highlights the dangers of approaching the Voynich manuscript with preconceived notions. The desire for a simple answer can blind us to the manuscript's true complexity and enduring intrigue. Using computational linguistics, Dr. Greg Kondrak and his PhD student Bradley Howard decoded the manuscript. They presented their results at the Association for Computing Linguistics annual meeting in 2017 in an article titled "The Language of the Ancient Near East, Alphabetical Anagrams, Alphabetically Ordered Anagrams, and Medieval Manuscripts." Kondrak and Howard concluded that the manuscript was most likely in the language of Hebrew, but that experts in the field of medieval manuscripts who examined the work were unconvinced. In 2018, Arctic, an electric engineer with a passion for Turkic languages, posted a YouTube video in which he claimed that Voynich is a form of Old Turkish written in a poetic style. He said that the text is written using phoneorthography, which means that the words are spelled out as they are heard by the reader, and that Arctic had deciphered the manuscript and translated more than 30% of it. However, Arctic's submission to Digital Philology in 2019 was rejected. Another recent attempt to decipher the Voynich manuscript came from Gerard Cheshire, a researcher at the University of Bristol. In 2019, he claimed a breakthrough. The manuscript was written in a forgotten language called Proto-Romance. Cheshire argued he cracked the code in just 2 weeks using lateral thinking. He translated sections suggesting the book contained information on medicinal plants, women's health, and even astrology, but experts weren't convinced. Medieval language specialists found major flaws in Cheshire's approach. They argued his translations were forced and the script itself might be gibberish or an elaborate code. Facsimiles, which are detailed copies, have played a crucial role in making the Voynich manuscript more accessible for study. Early attempts at facsimile creation date back to the 17th century, with alchemist Georgius Baratius making copies in 1637. These copies were sent to Athanasius Kircher. Later, Wilfrid Voynich, the namesake of the manuscript, also made copies. Technology has greatly improved the creation and distribution of facsimiles in recent times. In 2004, the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library, which currently holds the Voynich manuscript, made high-resolution digital scans publicly available online. This was a game-changer, allowing researchers around the world to study the manuscript in incredible detail without needing to travel to Yale. The digital scans also paved the way for high-quality printed facsimiles. Several publishers released printed facsimiles, making physical copies more accessible. In 2016, the Beinecke Library collaborated with Yale University Press to create a special facsimile edition. This edition included not only a replica of the manuscript itself, but also scholarly essays providing context and analysis. Most recently, in 2017, the Beinecke Library authorized the creation of a limited print run of replicas by a Spanish publisher. This further broadened access to the manuscript, allowing a small number of individuals to own a physical copy, though likely at a significant cost due to the limited edition. The enigmatic nature of the Voynich manuscript has proven irresistible to fiction writers. Authors like Max McCoy, Indiana Jones and Philosopher's Stone, and Deborah Harkness, The Book of Life, have woven the manuscript into their narratives, adding a layer of intrigue to their stories. These fictional portrayals not only highlight the public's fascination with the manuscript, but also serve as a reminder of its enduring allure. The manuscript's unique visual style has resonated with artists as well. Italian artist Luigi Serafini's Codex Seraphinianus, created between 1976 and 1978, bears a striking resemblance to the Voynich manuscript. Serafini's work, featuring invented script and fantastical plants, is a clear homage to the mystery of the original. The Voynich manuscript has even found expression in the realm of music. Composer Hans-Peter Kuyper's chamber work, the Voynich Cipher manuscript, draws inspiration from the manuscript, translating its qualities into musical form. Likewise, the New Haven Symphony Orchestra commissioned a symphony based on the manuscript in 2015, further demonstrating its capacity to spark artistic creativity. The digital age has not left the Voynich manuscript untouched. The popular video game Assassin's Creed features the manuscript as collectible items and even a plot point highlighting its growing presence in popular culture. Webcomics like Sandra and Wu have also paid tribute to the manuscript, showcasing its ability to capture the imagination of online audiences. The Voynich manuscript's influence extends far beyond its historical significance. It has become a cultural touchstone, inspiring works of fiction, art, music, and even video games. As the mystery surrounding the manuscript continues to captivate us, its influence is sure to grow even stronger, urging us to ponder the secrets it may hold. The Voynich manuscript may have stumped previous attempts to decipher it, but history is full of puzzles that once seemed impossible. Maybe the key isn't in established languages, but in a code waiting to be cracked by a fresh perspective. Who knows? Maybe you hold the spark of genius that unlocks this ancient mystery. Imagine the thrill of discovering a pattern, a connection that no one else has seen. The Voynich Manuscript is your invitation to participate in history. Don't be afraid to try and to experiment. The best part? You don't have to do it alone. There's a whole world of researchers and enthusiasts fascinated by the Voynich Manuscript. Join forces, share ideas, and together, maybe you'll make the breakthrough that changes history. Thank you everyone for watching. My name's The Big Y. Don't forget to drop a like, and if you're new to the Why Not family, a follow. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.